We are playing ground control, 1,500 points each. My first battle group is Minos with ammo value 4, followed by Bellathron and 2 mid-air. Third group is an Orpheus and 5 Echoes. Third group is an Orpheus and 2 more mid-air. Fifth group is 2 Orions and 2 Europas, followed by 3 Pandoras.
Battle group is Madrid, Alpha 1 Barman ship with a troop transport, the San Francisco. Second battle group is the Seattle fleet carrier, 3 Santiago corvettes with another San Francisco troop ship. Third battle group is the Berlin with the burn through with 3 Tulum gunships. Fourth battle group is 6 New Orleans strike carriers, the troop ships, small troop ships. Fifth battle group is the Atlantis battlecruiser with the Admiral and the Moscow. The sixth battle group is 4 Taipei close action missile ships with a Jakarta Aegis defense ship.
First turn, and PHR got forced to go first with the battleship. UCM New Orleans have moved on standard orders and have all dropped down a layer. PHR Orpheus and Echoes have activated, they've moved on all on standard orders and have gone down their layer. UCM Toulouse and Berlin have moved on and staying there. They're using solid running as well. End of turn 1. PHR was the only people to drop. They've dropped it 3 infantry and 1 battery out of the Orpheus. Start of turn 2. UCM has played next gen armour plating onto one of the Toulouse. Reroll arm saves. End of turn 1 and starting turn 2. This is what the board looks like. UCM went first. The Toulouse that had the card played on it has used active scanning onto the Orpheus troop ship, putting it up to a major spike. PHR's activation of Orpheus and 2 Medea. They've all double thrusted. The 2 Medea have moved over here and went down a layer, and the Orpheus is double thrusted over there. UCM activated the Atlantis and Moscow, both moved on silent running over this side of the board. PHR activated the battleship, he stayed on silent running. UCM activated the troop ship, their cruisers moved up to there along with their corvettes. They've moved along behind that group to support them there as well. PHR Bellathron and Medea have activated. Bellathron has moved to there on standard orders. Medea have moved on double thrust. The Orpheus and Echoes had to activate. Orpheus has moved forward on standard order, dropping down to -5. The Echoes have moved over, staying in low orbit. UCM New Orleans have activated. These have moved up and have gone to atmosphere there. These New Orleans have activated, moved up and managed to get range and shoot and destroy an Echo. Cleanup phase for turn 2. PHR dropped no assets. UCM dropped a battery and 3 infantry into the commercial sector there. The strike carriers have dropped 3 tanks, 1 into one sector and 2 in the other. Turn 3, UCM got their strike carrier group to go first. These moved forwards. These have dropped to atmosphere, shot at the corvettes. Also in the cleanup phase, PHR played ECM field generator onto the central section and has played nanomachine colonies onto the battleship. PHR responded with the battleship moving forwards on standard orders, dropping down a layer and sitting in the middle between the strike carriers, failing to get any range on any of them. UCM troop carrier and Madrid have both doubled onto the board and both stayed in the upper layer of atmosphere for now. The Pandoras have activated, moved on as far as they could. They have targeted and shot at the Tepe that had gone for active scanning last turn, managing to destroy it. A mighty 1-inch explosion on the best result of a 6 it could get. Medea and Bellefonte next. These two Medea have moved up and dropped a layer next to that cluster. This Bellefonte has turned towards the Seattle there. Didn't do anything as I was facing the wrong direction to active scan and shoot at the same time. So it's just stayed on its layer, turned and moved. The Taipei and Jakarta group have activated. The Taipei's have moved on standard activation in high orbit. The Jakarta has moved on and has active scanned the Orpheus of the central cluster there. The troop ship has went silent running. The corvettes have moved up, dropped down to atmosphere there. Their fleet carrier ship has turned, got into range of the now heavily spiked Orpheus and has done 3 points of damage to it. It also dropped a layer to do that. PHR activated the Orpheus and Medea group. This Medea has moved up to there. This one's moved over towards the sector and has dropped to atmosphere. And the Orpheus has moved to there. It has shot, managing to cause 2 points of damage, then the crippling table destroyed the strike carrier. PHR's Orpheus and Echoes went next. This Orpheus has moved up, shot at the middle one, causing no damage. The Echoes have moved over. They have caused 3 points of damage to the closest strike carrier and 1 to the one at the back after they used intensified point defense. The Berlin group has activated. It's went on silent running, and the Toulouse ships have moved forward, shot at the low Medea, causing no damage. The Moscow and Atlantis group have activated. The Moscow has played gunnery masters on it to fire at the battleship, causing a total of 4 damage. The Atlantis has moved forwards, trying to use the orbital targeting matrix onto the Orpheus, which used launch trap, which put it out of weapons range. Last activation for the PHR this turn was the Orion and Europa group. They've all used max thrust and have jumped quite far into the middle of the board. End of turn cleanup. Over here, this one has launched fighters onto itself, and PHR launched some bombers to it. There are 4 bombers. Over here, this Europa has received 2 groups of bombers. Centrally, PHR have dropped infantry tanks against the tanks off the UCM. The Minos has launched a torpedo at both of his Atlantis and Madrid. Over here, there was the Atlantis had launched at the Orpheus, causing no damage, and everything has dropped what it can down for combat here next turn. In the planning phase of turn 4, the PHR have played elite ground forces on the central sector, and UCM have played infiltrate and sabotage on this sector, causing 2 damage points on each sector. The tanks was destroyed in the military sector on its own. PHR took both hits on randomisation in the other sector on the infantry, but they passed all their saves. PHR activated first with their Orion and Europa group. Europas have moved up, shot at the fleet carrier there, causing 1 point of damage. They also shot at the strike carrier down there, 1 point of damage there also. The Orions have moved up using ship of the line on one of them. They shot at the Atlantis, causing 11 points of damage there, putting it on fire on the crippling table, and have also shot at and caused another point of damage to the fleet ship as well. The Atlantis and Moscow group activated. The Atlantis activated first, turned on a standard order, moved over, and has shot at the Orpheus, crippling it, putting it onto a bright flash there. The Moscow moved forward on its weapons free. It finished off the Orpheus and has shot at the battleship, causing no damage to the battleship, but it did finish off the Orpheus. The torpedoes, the one on each, were both critical, causing the Atlantis to die. The Moscow went on to the crippling table and took another 3 points of damage, and the weapons are offline. The Minos is activated, managing to destroy the Madrid there. It also shot on the other side at a ground sector, causing no damage. The Toulouse and Berlin battle group have activated. The Berlin has shot and annihilated the Medea there. The Toulouse have shot at the central Pandora, causing 2 points of damage. The Pandora is activated. They close actions and managed to destroy their one Toulouse with the close action fire, and they shot at, causing 3 points of damage to the Madrid. UCM activated the Seattle and San Francisco. They've moved forwards, shot at and destroyed the Europa. The corvettes have moved up, destroyed the Pandora in the middle, putting blazing wreck spikes onto the other two. The San Fran and Madrid activated. The San Fran has moved forward, shot at, causing 1 point of damage to my Orpheus. The Madrid has moved forward, shot at the Pandoras, causing no damage. The Medea and Orpheus group activated. This Medea moved up, bombarded a sector, causing 1 point of damage and killing a tank. The Orpheus, when it activated, shot at, causing 1 point of damage back to the San Francisco. The strike carrier group was activated for the UCM. Over here they shuffled and shot the Echoes for 1 damage. Over here they shuffled and they shot at the transports, causing Orions, causing no damage. The PHR Echoes with the Orpheus have activated. They destroyed the one strike carrier and failed to cause any damage onto the other one, where they put most of their shots. The Bellerophon and Medea have activated. Bellerophon has rotated, managing to hit and destroy the fleet carrier there. The Medeas have just scooted. Pace and Jakarta have activated. They've all shot at this Orpheus, knocking it down to 11 points of damage, including the crippling table. I did expect it to die, but it lived. End of turn 4. Bombers, 2 groups destroyed there. The other 2 are sitting over there on the Madrid ready. All the ground firing has happened, causing bits of damage here and there. Ground combats was kind of bloody. Over here a load of troops have been dropped in from both guys, ready for next turn. And points wise for turn 4, UCM have 9, PHR have 5. The Taipei's and Jakarta have activated. Jakarta's moved up. The Taipei's fired out the Orpheus, killing it. PHR played detonate drives. The blast radius of the distortion bubble managed to get to all 3 of the Jakartas, destroying 2, putting the third one onto 1 damage point left. The Orpheus and Medea group have activated. The Medea, the lone surviving Medea, bombarded this sector and has used come to new heading to stay there. PHR Pandoras have activated. They've moved forward, shot everything at the Madrid, putting it onto 8 points of damage, setting it on fire with the crippling roll. UCM activated the Santiago group. The Santiagos have moved over. Close actions causing 2 points of damage to the Medea, and the carrier, the drop carrier, has moved over and max thrust to this cluster. The Madrid has moved forwards, shot its weapons at the Pandoras, causing 3 points of damage. It survived the crippling roll, and the bombers that were on it caused 1 point of damage. It has 1 point left. The bulk landing ship over here has moved forward, shot at one of the Medea, causing 1 point of damage there. The Orion and Europa group activated. The Europa is Tokyo Drift and shot at the Belay, and using the come to new heading. Also, the Orions using the come to new heading have swapped places just to keep coherency. Shot out the San Fran, causing 4 points of damage there. The Minos activated using come to new heading. Shot everything at the San Fran here, destroying it completely, relying on the crippling table to do that though for the last damage point. Berlin activated, moved up, close actioned one of the Orions, causing 3 points of damage, and has fired its burn through at the Minos, causing 5 points of damage, taking it up to 9. UCM Strike Carrier Group activated, they move forwards their half movement, their targets they shot at, caused no damage to them. The Echo Group activated, their main gun shot at the Jakarta, causing no damage, and their close action destroyed the Strike Carrier. Elephant moved forwards and burned through the Berlin, causing 6 points of damage and fire. This Medea has scooted forwards. The other one has went max thrust and dived over that way. End of turn 5. PHR launched 2 bombers over to the Madrid. They launched bombers at the Berlin. It blew up, causing 1 point of damage to the Bellefonds and some damage to the Orion there. With the ground guns shooting the Orion, it has now got 2 points of damage left. The ground guns over here is a bit ineffective. Combat's left the most of the sectors in UCM control. Over here, the burn through from the ground destroyed the Jakarta, and combat's left one sector in UCM, one sector in PHR control. We also played Expert Repair Crews, mine on to the PHR battleship and onto the Madrid. It has gone silent running, survived the bombers. San Fran over here shot at the Medea, caused no damage. Bellefonds group activated. This Bellefonds has moved over, burned through, putting him back down to 1 point of damage left. He also used course change to do that. Over here the Medea has moved over to the sector, bombarded, done no damage. This one has milled around doing nothing there. Pandora's activated, they used station keeping, they close actioned and destroyed the Madrid. UCM New Orleans activated, they shot at the Orion with 2 damage points left, causing no damage. Medea and Orpheus group activated, the Medea has used max thrust and jumped over this way. The last Taipei has moved over, not able to see anything, so it's just went slow as possible. PHR Battleship Minos activated next. It took a standard order, moved here, and has put 1 point of damage onto the corvette in atmosphere there. Santiago's activated, moved over, shot at the Orion that has taken damage, causing no damage there. The Orion and Europa group activated, they used come to new heading. They managed to put 4 points of damage onto the strike carrier, not strike carrier, the main drop carrier there. The other ones moved over that one. The turn, the orbiter guns destroyed the San Francisco there, the New Orleans there, no, San Fran there, that destroyed the last Taipei. Over here, UCM took the ground, and this is what their board looks like at the end. Ended PHR winning 17-16.